First, I want to thank all of you for being here today. Mayor Hickenlooper, thank you for honoring us with your presence. I think this is the second or third time you've spoken to a CED audience. I think of you as America's mayor, and I really support and applaud your leadership in this city and in this country, and the intellectual integrity and vitality that you bring to public service. It's an inspiration for many of us around the country. So thank you for what you're doing here. It's a pleasure to be in your great city once again. I'm going to be very brief, and I know the lunch will be served, but Matt, shall I segue into introducing you? Shall we keep going? Are you fueled and ready to go? I just want to say a couple of things about the Committee for Economic Development and also my friend and boss, Doug Price. CED was founded in 1942. We're a nonpartisan, bipartisan business-led group. We helped create the Marshall Plan. We bring a business voice to public policy in a way that's nonpartisan. We refer to CED, some people have referred to CED as the conscience of the business community, and we're very blessed to have 200 people on our board, mostly business leaders and university presidents, and they, believe it or not, put first the country's interests and not the business interests. We think of CED as the best of business thinking in the nation's interest, but we're not really a lobbying group. And so we've been doing this type of work on public policy both domestically and internationally since 1942. Healthcare is obviously a very important issue to us. 7 years ago, we put out a report thinking we could fix the employer-sponsored system, but then when our trustees took a look at it again in late 2007, we concluded the trajectory is not sustainable. The trend curves are down. More employers are opting out. The costs are not sustainable. And so we reached a different set of conclusions, that you need to move away from the employer-sponsored system through a set of market-oriented, incentive-based reforms, which Professor Alan Enthoven will talk about this afternoon. But let me just say a couple things about Doug Price and how lucky you are to have Doug as a leader in your community. Doug didn't tell you everything. It took me a long time to persuade him to join the CED board. And the way I did it was I trapped him. He came to New York, and he was participating in one of our early education conferences, and we had a speaker who became ill and could not fly out, and I said, Doug, you're on. And he very graciously agreed to give remarks with about an hour's notice. And I think one thing led to another, and we finally sealed the deal. We have known each other for a long time. I've been a huge admirer of his. And I think it's fair to say, Doug, that one of your mentors was the late Brad Butler, the CEO of Procter & Gamble, who moved to this community, whom I first met when I was general counsel of United Way of America, and have followed closely. He was also a trustee of the Committee for Economic Development. So I want to salute Doug and congratulate him on his new position, but also tell you in the 15 years that I've known Doug, he is the essence of what we now call at CED a business statesman, a business patriot. Our longest-serving trustee is Pete Peterson, who founded the Blackstone Group in New York and was Commerce Secretary under Richard Nixon. Pete coined the phrase business statesman, and it's people like Doug, inspired by people like Brad Butler and others, who have played leading roles in your community, in this town, in this state, and in the country, in areas such as education and healthcare. Doug has been an inspiration to me, and I know in the position that he has now with PBS, he will do an enormous amount of good for this community. He has been at CED events, and he has spoken in New York. He has spoken in The Hague last year, in the Netherlands, and he will be with us speaking again in Cape Town, South Africa next month, I believe. And he is a business statesman when it comes to public policy, certainly the work he's done in education. So I can't thank Doug enough for his engagement in public policy with CED and for all that he's doing in this community. You have earned the phrase business statesman, and you carry the mantle very well. So thank you very much for your leadership. I have had the good fortune to introduce Matt Miller on a number of occasions. I can almost do it, Matt. You know, unscripted. I do it unscripted. Matt and I have known each other a number of years. I've actually known Matt's wife, Jody, I think I met Jody first when she was at the Office of Management and Budget with Dave, working with David Gergen, and then I got to know Matt. And he currently serves as a senior fellow at the Center for American Progress, and he's a contributing editor to Fortune magazine. He's won a number of awards. He has a radio program broadcast out of Los Angeles called Left, Right, and Center. He's written two very important books, which I commend to you. The first is called The 2% Solution, which has a set of recommendations for fixing a number of America's problems, as he says, in ways that liberals and conservatives can love. And his second book, which came out in January of this year, which, by the way, we bought copies of and sent to all 200 of our trustees. And it wasn't only because he mentioned CED in Chapter 3 on healthcare. But Matt, his new book, The Tyranny of Dead Ideas, came out in January of this year. I really commend it to you. Whether you're a liberal or a conservative or a Republican or a Democrat, it doesn't matter. Matt Miller brings a freshness, a creativity, and a vitality to his thinking. Worst thing I can say about Matt is he's a lawyer, but he's overcome it. He's had a time at McKinsey and Company. But I think you will take away from his discussion a real sense of the integrity of his ideas, the quality and strength of his intellect, and he's also a good friend, and he has a sense of humor. So it's a pleasure to welcome Matt Miller once again to a CED audience. Matt, thank you very much for coming.